how's it going? Julie here. Welcome to the Julie's Paint Party YouTube channel, where I believe that you can learn how to paint without breaking the bank. I just use simple supplies from the dollar store to create beautiful pieces of artwork. You don't have to spend a bunch of money on crazy expensive art supplies. It's just not necessary to enjoy and learn to love painting. Okay, now today it's a little different. Valentine's Day is going to be coming up, and I thought it would be fun just to do a really super simple, fun little art project that you can totally do with your kids. And it's just, you know, there's no pressure at all for this project. So what I do, I have a piece of watercolor paper. You can totally get a pack of watercolor paper at the dollar store. I have my dollar store watercolor paints, and I also have some oil pastels here. Now, if you don't have oil pastels, you can totally use crayons or colored pencils. You can use any medium you want. We're gonna get wild, we're gonna get gnarly, and we're just gonna fill this paper up full of awesome craziness. That has to do with Valentine's Day. We're gonna put some hearts down on our paper, okay? Now, I do have some green tape that I am going to tape the edges of my piece of paper here to start. Not only because I really, just make sure that's straight there, not only because I like that it will stick my page to the table, but I also like when it has like a nice little frame around the edges. It's not necessary, you don't have to do it. You can just leave your paper as is, hand out everybody a paper. And that's the great part about paper too. It's not a canvas. So you can, if it doesn't work out the first time, or if they do it, if the kids do it really, really fast, which it is a fast project, that's okay. Then just make another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. Anyways, go grab your supplies and we'll get started. Now, while I'm taping my project onto my table, just throwing it out there, okay? I love teaching people how to paint. Teaching people how to paint has completely changed my life. I tried to be an artist for a really long time, and I am one, but I've tried all the avenues. I had my own gallery space in British Columbia for a little while. I had my own t-shirt printing company. I've made bodies of artwork. I've sold lots of paintings, like just my original paintings, which is great. But it's being an artist can be difficult. And it wasn't really until I found teaching that it really lit me up, and it really makes me really happy. And I love sharing it with you, and I love sharing it with other people. So if you have a group of people that are scattered throughout the world, the country, wherever you are, I can absolutely host a virtual paint party for you. Painting is a wonderful shared experience, and I'm really good at teaching. So with that said, you can always head over to my website, juliespaintparty.com/book now, and it'll give you all the information you need. If that's something like maybe you have a work team or a school team, maybe you have a whole network of people that aren't in the same place at the same time, we can all meet together online no matter where we are and share the experience of painting together. So I hope you entertain that idea. Now that my canvas is all ready to go, my watercolor paper, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna heart it up hardcore. We're making abstract hearts, and we're letting our heart just get wild with this, okay? We're not thinking about it. We're not gonna overdo it. We're not gonna overthink it. We're just gonna get down and dirty and just have fun putting some paint and some fun art supplies on the canvas, okay? So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab my white. I'm gonna grab my white oil pastel. And I'm just gonna start by making a heart in the middle, and I'm going to start to kind of go around and make all sorts of little lines, kind of in a heart shape. Obviously you can't see it very well because it's white, but just for being able to kind of show you purposes, I'm going to do the same thing I'm going to use pink. I was going to use red, but I'm going to use pink. So I'm going to get that off there. I'm going to start with a nice pink heart. And you can make little hearts too, but basically just making some random lines in a heart shape all around my canvas. And obviously I'm going off the canvas as well. Getting all crazy, okay? So once that's done, we're gonna use our watercolor paints to paint right over top of it. You know what, I need a few extra ones up here. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna grab my water, and I think I'm gonna use a mixture of like, what colors am I gonna use? I think I'm gonna use purple and blue. So I'm gonna grab some water. I'm gonna just put it on top of my colors here. I'm gonna let the water sit on my watercolors just for an extra second, and then I'll start to mix those colors in. And I'm gonna start to go over top of all of those lines that I just made. Now, the more water I use, the lighter my color is. So sometimes it's nice to just start out really light. Grab a little water, grab a little paint, move it around. And the cool part about putting our oil pastels on our canvas first is that they start to show up. You can't paint over top of them. So they still show up whether we go over top of them or not, which is kind of cool. And we start to get all sorts of different kind of gradients and hues. So got some blue on the outside, some purple on the insides. And then I'm gonna grab, what goes good with purple? I'm gonna grab some of this pink over here. Let it sit there. Add some pink in there too. Now, don't get me wrong, these are really Valentine's-y colors. You don't have to stick to this color scheme. You can make your hearts whatever color you want. Okay. So I love seeing the extra pieces of white start to come through. And the more I start to darken it, the more you're gonna see the white that I put on there in the first place. And I'm just following that same heart shape. So if you start in the middle, I'm just kind of going back and forth, following my heart. Listen to your heart when it's calling for you. I don't know where I'm going. Anyways, every time I hear the word heart, look at a heart, it's the only song that pops into my head. Listen to your heart before you tell her goodbye. Anyways, okay, so this is a really good start. What I want you to do, just give it 2 minutes to dry, okay? Watercolors dry up really fast as long as, it's not too watery. We're just gonna give it a minute, and then we're gonna come back to it with even more pastels. Okay, so now that it's dry, we can take this to the next level. So we have our paints on there, and we have all of these pastels, and we can continue to work from the center, and this is where your beautiful mind and creativity come into play. We can get back in there, and we can, maybe color in some hearts with our pastels. We can start to offset some of the hearts, so we can maybe just Add a few extras on the outskirts here. And we don't want to always just start like use pink, right? We got red. And we got blue. Purple. And you can see you can start to overlap some of these hearts too. You can start to make them pop left and right. We got orange. What I obviously really like the yellow because it's just like this really amazing pop of color on there. And you can always go back to your white too. Might not show up as good, but that's okay. Now I'm going to start to pop a few of my hearts off the side of the canvas because when I take the tape off, you're not going to be able to see it. So it's like there's hearts kind of flying even outside of my canvas. And you know, I highly suggest just taking a little step back and deciding, okay, you know, I'm kind of like, there's some empty space here, empty space here. I don't have any color. I could use a different color here. All the same colors kind of pent up here. And truly, I'm just gonna keep on adding hearts and hearts and hearts. Until my little heart is content. All right. Now, last but not least, before we finish up, you know, like I said, it's kind of nice. Take a look around. There might be some hearts that you want to color in. Like I have all sorts of empty hearts over here. So I'm going to color in a couple hearts. Or maybe you even want to use a different color to color in a different heart. Like I can color in my green heart with my yellow. I can color in my red heart with my orange. I'm gonna do I'm gonna color this blue heart in with my red. And then once all is said and done, that's when I'm gonna start to grab my black. So I always leave black for last because it's a really pungent color. We have all of these beautiful hearts all over the place, and you definitely don't have to use black. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start to trace some of the outlines of some of these hearts. And then once I have a few outlines done, you know, sporadic, I'm going to try and keep it, I'm going to take a look and keep it nice and even. Then I'm just going to decide, some spots I'm just going to touch the outside lines of it. Maybe even put a little black heart in the center. And that's just going to add a little bit more detail and definition into my piece. And voila! I have a super fun, magical piece of artwork where there was no pressure at all. And then I can take my tape off, and it's its own little masterpiece. Now, be careful. With oil pastels, they can get crinkly. You don't want to use your hand to wipe, okay? We can blow off some of the chunks. You can even do one of these. You can grab a hairdryer and blow off some of the little pieces of like the leftovers here. But we don't want to wipe with our hands because I already got it all over my hands, but then it's going to get all mixed together. And not that that's a bad thing, but you know, it is what it is. Now, while that's on there, and with that said, with the mixing part, one thing that we can do as well, you can take your finger and a little piece of paper towel, and if there's any lines that you want it to make look a little bit more solid, you can always start to, you can smooth out some of your lines if you want to. So if you want to smooth out some of your outside hearts, you can grab a little paper towel and get in there. And that's it. Just a really simple little design that you could totally put in a frame and remind everybody how much you love them. Now, I don't have my paintbrushes here, but I do have a pencil, so I'm going to put my name on it so that everybody knows that it's mine. And what a fun little Valentine's surprise, right? It doesn't have to be a beautiful masterpiece all the time. Just like getting down and dirty with our artwork feels really good. So I encourage you to make a few of these. Another one, without putting hearts on top, you can just keep kind of tracing the lines of your heart. And if you have a big piece of paper, it can look really, really magical. All right. So can't wait to see what you did. Just remember, when you're done, I'd love to see your results. If you take a picture and send it over to the Julie's Paint Party public Facebook group, everybody's going to want to see what you did, and we love it, and it will just be so appreciated. So have a fantastic day and week, my friend. I will see you soon. Bye.